and welcome to Barca News. It is July 15th, 2026, and Araujo's future could be in doubt depending on one factor. I'm going to tell you what that factor is. Also, Barcelona have set a cap on Julian Alvarez's fee, and also there's a new factor that could also change this whole operation. I'm going to tell you about both things. And finally, Aymeric Laporte offering himself to Barcelona. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Soy hincha de la selección, la alento con el corazón. Ganamos la tercera con Lionel. Queremos ser campeones otra vez. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and welcome to Barca News' live podcast. Just on every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, where not only we discuss Barcelona news, but we also get to interact with you lovely people, my Barca News family, by reading your comments and reacting to them live. So start filling out the chat section with your comments, your questions, anything you want to share with all of us here. For those of you who be watching when the podcast ends, we'll be putting timestamps in the description, the chapters, and a timeline, in case you do want to skip through the discussion and get straight into the news. Having said all of that, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment. All this helps the channel continue to grow. Also, if you're looking for any Barcelona kits, especially the new kit, or any kits from any other football teams around the world, you can hit the kit bag. If you're looking for any sports gear from any other sports, you can head to Fanatics. And if you want to place any sports bets, especially with the World Cup final right around the corner, you can head to Bet Us. All links down below in the description. You click on them, you get access to deals and offers that otherwise you would not get access to if you were not using those links. Anyways, let's begin this podcast because, ladies and gentlemen, we just watched another epic semi-final. This World Cup, ladies and gentlemen, this World Cup, my God, it's given us some insane matches. Yesterday, of course, Spain completely dominating France and making it to the final. I did a whole live about it. It's on the channel if you want to see my analysis of that match. I did a full detail analysis of what went right and what went wrong. And while today, that semifinal was followed by another epic comeback by Argentina, coming back from being down 1-0 to win the match 2-1 with goals of Lautaro Martinez and another goal by Enzo Fernandez and two assists by the GOAT, Lionel Andres Messi Cucitino, who has now, I've lost how many assists he has. He has 8 goals and I think 4 assists or 5 assists, something like that. At 39 years old, ladies and gentlemen, Messi continues to do it. You know, when they said, oh, Messi and Penaldo are now old, they're going to have to step off the stage and make room for the new generation, for the Mbappés and Haalands and Lamine Yamals of the world. Nope. There is Messi still competing and still outplaying the younger generation. Penaldo, he got old. He stepped off. He's gone. He went into the sunset. Now Messi, 39 years old, and he is fighting toe-to-toe with players who are 10, 12, 15 years younger than him, still doing it at 39. He is undoubtedly the GOAT. And if you can't see it by now, well, I'm sorry, my friend. But with all due respect, you're an idiot. And you need to watch another sport. But anyways, Argentina coming back down, being 1-0. Goal by Anthony Gordon, by the way. People were like, oh, Mo, I don't know why Barcelona season him, blah, blah, blah. Have you seen how this guy plays? Have you seen how many assists he's had in the World Cup so far? And then today, the way he beat Molina on that run and scores that goal. I mean, can you imagine Anthony Gordon doing that with Lamine Yamal's crosses? I mean, we definitely have a good signing on our hand. I don't know if it's worth 70 or 80 million. That's another whole topic, but we definitely have a good signing, and I see why Hansi Flick wanted Anthony Gordon. But anyways, England scored a first goal with Anthony Gordon, and then Tuchel. We got to talk about Tuchel because he is a chicken shit coach. I can say that
confidently. I always thought that before, but today definitely confirmed that Tuchel is a chicken shit coach. He is a wimpy coward. That's what he is. And I'm sorry I have to say it. And to English people who follow this channel, you guys deserve better. You really, really do, because you have a phenomenal squad. You have some incredible players on that squad. You have Harry Kane, of course, one of the best nines right now in the world. You have Jude Bellingham, who with England has been absolutely phenomenal. Anthony Gordon, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And to have a chicken shit coach like Tuchel is an absolute waste of a generation and a waste of an incredible squad that England has. Because what did Tuchel do as soon as England scored a goal? He retreated. He parked the bus. He hid like a coward in England's third. And why would you do that against a team like Argentina? A team that has the greatest player in the history of the sport, Lionel Messi, who can cause you a lot of damage. A team that has attackers like Julian Alvarez or Lautaro Martinez. A team that has someone like Enzo, who you know can shoot from outside the box. How many times we've seen Enzo Fernandez score some bangers from outside the box? So you know this team can cause you damage from outside, from inside the box, from the wings, from everywhere. Why would you park the bus against a team like Argentina? Thomas Tuchel, you're a chicken shit coach. You're a coward, and you don't deserve to be the coach of the English national team. In fact, you don't deserve to be a coach of any big teams. You need to be coaching teams like Getafe, because that's exactly what you did today. And lo and behold, the second half of this match was an absolute masterclass by Argentina. The best half they've played in the entire World Cup, because so far I was like, I don't know, man. I don't see, like, Argentina's mostly been depending on their experience as champions, on their balls, on their big, huge set of balls, of always not giving up, of always looking to mount a comeback. They've depended a lot on individualities, but today we saw a great half, where the second half they played beautiful football. They attacked beautifully as a team, as a block, and they just hammered England, attack after attack after attack, a chance after a chance after a chance. I mean, McAllister hit the post twice, once with his head, the other one with the foot. Then came Enzo Fernandez banger from outside the box. And then, of course, Leo Messi's beautiful cross with his right foot, with his weak foot, to Lautaro Martinez, who all had to do is head it in, and Argentina was 1-2. And then 4 minutes left for the match. It's the 94th minute. Argentina is up. England has lost its lead. And this is when that chicken shit coach, Thomas Tuchel, decides, oh, let me put in attackers. Let me actually try and salvage this match. And he puts in Rashford and takes out Henderson and puts in more attackers. And it's like, bro, what are you doing? The match is over. There's 4 minutes left. Like, what are you thinking? But anyways, absolutely disgrace of a coach, Thomas Tuchel. Incredible second half by Leo Messi and Argentina. And now Argentina are through to the final. And with this final, ladies and gentlemen, us Barcelona fans, we eating. And we eating good. We eating real good. Because no matter who wins, Barcelona fans win. If Spain wins, we get to see Lamine Yamal, the new heir, lift the World Cup. If Argentina wins, we get to see our GOAT, and the GOAT period, not just our GOAT, but he's just the GOAT period, lift a second World Cup. We are just winning. We're eating, and we're eating good. And my question is, who are Madridistas going to support? My God, because they have had to wear a lot of jerseys this World Cup. We saw them wear Algeria's jersey. We got to see them wear Jordan's jersey, Austria's, Cape Verde's, Egypt, Portugal, France. Whose kit they gotta wear in the final? I have no idea. Who they gonna be supporting? I have no idea. Probably gonna be supporting the stadium or the ref, because my God, what a final we're going to have. In fact, to me, it's the perfect final. Not only because as a Barca fan, whoever wins, I would be happy with, but it's the perfect final because we're talking about the South American champion versus the European champion. We're talking about Leo Messi versus Lamine Yamal. The GOAT versus the new heir. Barcelona's past versus Barcelona's future. And to look at that picture that you see right now on your screen is an absolute madness to think that these two will face each other on Sunday, 18 years after that picture was taken. Who would have thought, who would have known that Messi taking this picture with just some random baby that he had no idea who he is, and 18 years later, they will be playing each other in the biggest, most important match in the world World Cup final, the biggest stage there is in any sport, because the World Cup is the biggest event in all sports, and while the final is the most important match of that biggest event. I mean, it just, I have chills going down my whole body just thinking the absolute madness. Like, you couldn't even script this. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that 18 years later, this young Messi taking a picture with just some random baby, and that baby would become the new heir to Messi, and then they would face each other in the final. I mean, this is absolutely nuts. And this is why football is the beautiful game, the beautiful sport, because this kind of stuff can only happen in football. I mean, again, I have chills all over my body because just thinking about the magnitude of what this final is and the magnitude of what it's going to be like to see Messi face off against Lamine Yamal. And again, us as Barca fans, we eating, man, and we eat good, because no matter who wins, well, we're gonna win. So Madridistas today, once again, they feel another hate watch. They're gonna have to go to bed crying. Their idol Jude Bellingham is out, just like Mbappe is also out. And we, us Barcelona fans, well, we get to celebrate. We get to celebrate what's going to be a beautiful, beautiful final. And I gotta say, man, after watching Spain yesterday, I was like, wow, I don't think anybody can stop Spain. But then after watching Argentina's second half today, I'm like, I don't know now. I truly don't. Like, seeing Spain play yesterday, the way they played against France, I was like, well, whoever they face off, whether it's Argentina or England, is going to be an easy cruise for them, an easy win. But then seeing the way Argentina played in the second half yesterday, I'm like, today, I'm like, I'm back to square one. I have no idea who would win. Obviously, Spain, if you compare man to man, they do have a better team. They're much younger. And they're more in sync as a group, even though today Argentina, collectively speaking, they had a fantastic second half. And then, of course, Spain, I do think they have a stronger midfield, and they might end up, winning possession and controlling the ball. But we've also seen Argentina knows how to suffer with or without the ball, right? We've seen Argentina without the ball, they know how to suffer, and when they do get the ball, they also know how to cause damage. Once they do get the ball. So I don't know. It's gonna be a very, very tough final. And like I said, whoever wins, well, we Barca fans win. And honestly, football wins, because this is gonna be an incredible match. I don't think England deserved to go through after that pathetic performance, thanks to Thomas Tuchel. And obviously France, well, what can we say? Spain completely dominated them. So we have the two true the two teams that truly deserve to be in the final are there. So this is a win for football, and of course a win for us Barca fans, and a triple win because we also get to watch Penaldo fans and Real Madrid fans go to bed in tears tonight. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say. Let me know in the chat section or in the comment section if you're watching this, who do you think is going to win and who you want to win, right? It could be two different things. You could say, maybe I think it's going to be Spain, but I truly want Argentina, or the opposite, right? Let me know. I'm curious to hear you guys' thoughts. Anyways, let's begin with the comment section, and then we are going to talk about Barcelona news. I know this is World Cup news, but technically it is related to Barca, right? We have 8 Barcelona players on the Spanish team, and we have the GOAT on the Argentina team, our GOAT and the football's GOAT. But let's see what everyone's saying in the comment section, and then we're going to talk about Ronald Araujo. And Java the Hut says, no matter what happens in the final, Messi deserves the Ballon d'Or. Man, with this World Cup, I'll tell you what, whether Argentina wins or not, I think they're going to give him the MVP of the tournament, which will be his third MVP of the third World Cup MVP trophy, right? He got it in 2014 when Argentina lost at the hands of Germany. He got it in 2022 when Argentina were champs. And I think he would get it this tournament too. I mean, even if Argentina loses, because what he's doing is insane. Is absolutely insane. I don't know if he'll end up getting top scorer because, of course, Mbappe is tied with Messi, 8 goals each. And Mbappe also has a game left, right? They're going to play the third, fourth place. And usually the third, fourth place matches, I actually enjoy those matches. I know it sounds crazy because who cares who ends up third and who ends up fourth, right? But they're usually very entertaining matches for me because, you know, the two teams that play that match, they're out, right? They can't win. So they throw all caution to the wind. They're not playing, you know, they're not kind of, oh, okay, let's attack, but let's not leave space in the back so we don't get killed. Or both teams are out. So both teams are going to be, they usually go all out. They attack with everything. And it's usually a goal fest. So it's going to be, you know, an entertaining match like it always is. And, you know, that's going to be obviously Mbappe's chance to score more goals. So he could end up, you know, scoring more than Messi at the end. But Messi's Messi, man. And Messi always surprises. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. By the way, had France made it to the final, I think it would have been historic, right? 3 finals in a row. I don't think anyone has done that. Or maybe I'm wrong, but would have been pretty historic. I mean, if Argentina wins, it would be historic as well. Like, it would become the third nation to win 2 World Cups back to back, right? Italy in the 30s, Brazil in the 60s, and then now would be Argentina. What is it? 60 years later. But anyways, Bisca Michael, what up? Bisca Michael says, "Hey Mo, I would feel bad for Penaldo fans, but when I remember what they were saying about our GOAT Messi in 2016, after Messi, I don't think I'll be supporting Argentina like I do now." I mean, I'm not going to lie. One of the biggest reasons I support Argentina is because of Messi, right? This is Messi's final World Cup. And if he wins, I'll be very, very happy because he gets to lift the second World Cup and he gets to do it during his final World Cup. But if he doesn't, obviously I will be happy for Spain. And after this, I don't care. I don't care what happens. But yeah, I'm with you there. Obviously, I always support. You know, as you guys know, my mom is Peruvian, so I'm half Latino. I always support South American nations in the World Cup. Like, I'll support all of them: Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, whichever nation makes it. I always support that. But yeah, I mean. Because of Messi, I've supported Argentina like crazy. So after that, maybe not as much, but I'll still support them. After all, they're still a South American nation. Let's see. George says, Blaugrana final. Let's go. My dream final. It's a perfect final. Again, I mean, not just as a Barca fan, because we're talking about Spain, 8 Barca players versus Messi, who's the Barcelona GOAT and the football GOAT. But even it's a perfect final for football. Again, we're talking about South American champion versus European champion. The two teams that truly deserved it from what we saw, right? The way Spain completely demolished and dominated France. The way Argentina did the same to England in the second half. They truly deserve to go through both of them because, you know, football is not always about who deserves it more. A lot of times we see the team that doesn't deserve it go through. But this time, both teams deserved it, and both teams are in the final. So it's a perfect final, not just for us Barca fans, but for football in general. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree, but those are usually, you know, the Messi haters, the Penaldo fans, the Madridistas. We don't care about their opinion, right? And Cal says the GOAT versus the air. I thought that was a crazy, impossible scenario. What a final. I love Yamal, but my heart leans more towards Messi, especially after all the campaign, and to hurt Penaldo more. Here's the thing. I no longer care about Messi beating Penaldo because that debate has been over for so many years that to me, it's honestly relevant. Like, I stopped really caring about that much about Penaldo and what he does and what does he do. You know, it's kind of like, would you compare... okay, there we go. It's kind of like Cubarsí and Huijsen, right? They try to tell us that Huijsen was better than Cubarsí. And it's like... Cubarsí right now is the best center back in the World Cup, and Huijsen is back home playing PlayStation, right? So, you know, would you care about what Huijsen does or doesn't do anymore? No, because, you know, it's irrelevant. It's like, we know Cubarsí's better. Like, so it's kind of like that for me. But yeah. Let's see. Jamrock says, Yamal, the young prince, will dethrone Messi in the World Cup final. We'll see. Let's see. Barca got culture says, why did Birmingham talk his shit to Messi? Guy didn't learn. Because Birmingham is a bum. It's in his name. Noob Master says, hey Mo, it's been a while. I haven't been on the live, but I wanted to say, who do you have as winning the World Cup? Vamos. Oof, I don't know, man. I do not know. If you would have asked me yesterday, I would have said Spain easily, the way they completely dominated France. But after seeing Argentina's second half today against England, I'm more like, ooh, I don't know. It's gonna be a good match. That's all I know. It's gonna be a good match. But on paper, Spain has the edge, right? Because football-wise, collective-wise, they have the better team, right? And if you compare man to man, I think they have a better team. Also, they play better collective football. They're much better at possession. You know, usually when you win possession, you win the game. Same thing, they're better at winning the midfield, which is also very important for winning a game. So on paper, Spain has the edge, right? But of course, football is not about numbers and stats and what's on paper only, right? There's a lot of other factors, that unquantifiable factors that influence, right? And one of them that plays very favorite to Argentina is their winning mentality. These people will not give up, man. They were down against Egypt 2-0, and they came back 3-2, right? Against Cape Verde, they were up, and then Cape Verde ties, and they're up, then Cape Verde ties again, and every time they had to, keep fighting. Against Switzerland, they were up 1-0, then Switzerland ties it, so they have to go to extra halves and get that win. And then today, down against England, and they have to mount a comeback. And that winning mentality is very, very important. Very important, right? They used to tell us that Madrid had it, and that's why Madrid didn't play finals. They lost. They didn't play finals. They would win them until Flick came and says, "Yeah, okay, let's see about that." The winning mentality is very important, very, very important, because while some teams fall apart as soon as they get scored on or retreat, like England did today, like Egypt did, other teams get better when they get scored on, and that's Argentina. I mean, in every match, we saw them get better when they were down. I mean, today, I texted my friend, Gordon scores, and I'm like, uh-oh, it's over for England. Argentina is about to go nuts. And that's exactly what they did. And it's like most teams fall apart when they get scored on. Argentina gets better. And that's something that obviously plays in their favor. Defiant says, finalissima. Yeah, definitely. That was a finalissima that got taken away from us. If you guys, for those who don't know, obviously the finalissima was played for the first time in 2022, early 2022, right? Which was the champion of South America, so the champion of Copa America versus the Euro champs. So it's Argentina versus Italy. Argentina won 3-0. And we were supposed to have the second version, or the second finalissima this year in March, which would have been the Copa America champs, again, Argentina, against the Euro champs, Spain. But because of the war or the conflict in Iran, it got canceled, right? Because it was supposed to be played in Qatar. And obviously Qatar was one of the countries affected by that conflict, so they canceled it. But the gods of football said, don't worry, guys. I know it was canceled, but boom, here you go. You're going to get it even in a better scenario, in the World Cup final, all right? But anyways, let's do news, and then we'll keep talking. We'll keep doing comments. But let's talk about Ronald Araujo, because today was the second day of training in the preseason. Of course, Monday was the medical exams. Players reported to Ciudad Esportiva to undergo medical exams. Yesterday, Tuesday, the team trained for the first time in the preseason. It's very exciting. I'm always excited about the preseason, which means the season is right around the corner. Plus, we get to see a lot of youngsters train and play with the first team. Today, second day of training, they had a double session, a morning and an evening session. And then one player that had reported to on Monday to the medical exams was, of course, Ronald Araujo. Ronald Araujo, who did travel with Uruguay to the World Cup. He did not play the first two matches of the group stages because he had a calf injury. And then the third match of the group stage, he was available, but Bielsa, Uruguay's coach, decided not to use him. And then, of course, Uruguay got eliminated in the group stages. So Araujo actually did not get to debut whatsoever in this World Cup. I don't think he debuted in the last World Cup either. 2 World Cups, no debuts. That has to suck. But anyways, Araujo was back in the city of Barcelona. On Monday, he reported to the medical exams. He underwent medical exams. He's not training because he has vacation until July 20th. You know, the players have vacations based on when they were eliminated from the World Cup. So he will report back to Barcelona on July 20th to begin training. And of course, Araujo has a mission, which is to try to fight for a spot or try to fight for minutes. As you know, right now, Barcelona has a lot of center backs. We have Cubarsí and Gerard Martin, who are the 2 starters for Hansi Flick. We have Christensen, who just renewed. We have Eric Garcia. We have, of course, Ronald Araujo. We have Alvaro Cortés, who's expected to be playing with the first team. And technically, we have Koundé, who can play there. But okay, Koundé is being used as a right back, so let's not count him. Without Koundé, we're talking about 6 center backs for 2 positions, right? So obviously, there's a lot of competition, and Araujo's goal is going to be to either win a spot or win more minutes because last season we saw he did not get much minutes. Now, this is where the new update lays. It's actually 2 updates in regards to this situation. The first one is that Hansi Flick is set to hold a conversation with Ronald Araujo that can determine the future of the Barcelona captain. Because even though Araujo did renew with Barcelona recently, and even though he wants to stay and fight for his spot, it's reported that based on that conversation, he could end up deciding to leave, depending on what Hansi Flick tells him. Because if Hansi Flick tells him you can stay and fight, but you're not going to be fighting with the starters, you're going to be fighting with the subs, that changes things, right? Because one thing is you're like, you're next in line, okay? And maybe if I really work hard, I could win and become the starter. But if you're like 4th, 5th in line, it's like, all right, if I work really hard, I'm going to jump from 5th position to 4th or maybe to 3rd. I'm still not a starter, right? So that conversation is set to be held sometime in the summer. And based on that, Araujo could decide to leave Barca in search of other minutes, even though his priority is to stay and fight for those minutes. But as we've seen, not only did he not get that many minutes, the few times he did get minutes with Hansi Flick last season was as a right back, which goes to show you that he really is at the bottom of the list as far as center backs. I mean, we even saw Alvaro Cortés get minutes ahead of Ronald Araujo. So that tells you he really is at the bottom of the list. So that conversation, if Flick confirms, like, yeah, bro, you're at the bottom of the list, that could end up leading Araujo to leave the club. Now, the second update, I told you there are 2 updates in regards to Ronald Araujo. The second update is that it looks like El Cholo Simeone, Atletico Madrid's coach, is a big fan of Araujo. You know, Araujo is the perfect profile for someone like Simeone. I think he would be a perfect profile for Italian teams too in the Serie A, right? Tall, strong, physical, really good in the air, fast. That's the kind of, your classic center back, that brute force that goes head to head with anybody, as opposed to the more technical center back that Barcelona usually prefers, right? Like someone who can build from the back, someone that can drive the ball forward, make those forward passes. That's not Araujo. Araujo is more of your classic center back, the big, tall, strong bull that will, bulldoze you if you try to go through him. And that's exactly what El Cholo Simeone looks for in his center backs, given that, he employs more of a defensive system as opposed to Flick that's highly, highly offensive. I don't mean offensive as that he insults others, but it does offend Madridistas because, they get their ass whooped by Hansi Flick all the time. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Now, not only is Diego Simeone, El Cholo Simeone, a big fan of Araujo and would love to have him in Atletico, but Atletico also are losing 2 center backs. They're losing Jimenez, whose contract is up, and they're also losing Lenglet. So, Simeone wants Araujo, and Atletico needs a center back. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Unless you're Madridista, equals 0, which is as many trophies that they have won in the last 2 seasons. So between Araujo, who might consider leaving depending on the talk that Flick will have with him, and the fact that, well, Atletico really want him, well, something can happen there. And what's that something called? Julian Alvarez, which we are going to talk about in the next segment. But first, let's do some comments, and then we'll talk about Julian Alvarez, who will be playing his second World Cup final in a row after Argentina's masterclass today. Earl says, I've been impressed by Romero with Argentina. I think he is better than Laporte. Yeah, Romero has been doing really well with Argentina. Would I choose him over Laporte? Whew. I think Laporte is more technical than Cuti Romero. But Cuti Romero is younger. Right? Cuti Romero is 28. Laporte is 32. 4 years might not sound a lot for us mortals, but in the world of football, 4 years makes a big difference. Tenzin says, man, marking Messi is like trying to hold water in your hands. The more you try, the easier it slips away. You ain't wrong, my friend. You are not wrong. And let's see. Kwame says, Madrid should focus on the preseason, not the final. And their failed signings. Let's see. Ty Wool says, Mo, why waste all the time talking shit on this World Cup match? I'm not happy with you. What? Because it's football, my friend. What do you want me to talk about? Baseball? It's a football channel. This is why I'm talking about the World Cup. Semi-final, nonetheless. Like one of the most important matches in a World Cup, which is a football competition. And this channel is a football channel. Do I have to make the connection for you? Anyways. Evgeny says, for the first time ever, I support 2 teams and both are in the final. How blessed I am. Bro, that's a good question. Or that's a good statement. Because, yes, we are all blessed as Barca fans. That's why I said we are eating, and we are eating good. Al-Haji says, hi, Mo. My name is Sine Kabia. I am from Sierra Leone. I just wanted to congratulate to my... our doily or hold on, I can figure this out. I just wanted to congratulations to my 2 damn it, I can't figure that out. But you want Lamine Yamal to win. Got it. I got that part. Thank you, my friend, for your comment. Akum Long says, hey, Mo, play Cancelo at right back, who is naturally a right back. He'll have great chemistry with Lamine. How about in the left back position? Who should Barca sign? So I think the reason why Flick played Cancelo, who can obviously play on both sides, but yeah, he naturally is a right back, is because I think Cancelo and Lamine would get into in each other's way, right? Because Cancelo really likes to go deep, and so does Lamine. Even though Lamine can also cut in the middle. And so I think meanwhile, on the left, Rafinha almost always cuts in the middle. So that leaves that whole flank for Cancelo to be exploited by him, up and down. Versus on the right, Lamine sometimes goes right, sometimes keeps going down. So if you have both players that can go deep, they kind of get into each other's ways. So I think that's why Flick prefers Cancelo on the left, which has worked. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And as far as fullbacks, I think we have an overbooking in fullbacks. I mean, we have Kunde, we have Eric Garcia, who's done really well as a right back, Xavi Espart, and Hector Fort. We have 4 players for the right back position. For the left back, obviously, which is where Cancelo plays, now we have Cancelo and Balde. So we're good there. And technically, we'd see if Jofre Torrens can cut it this time. Last summer, he did the preseason with the first team, but Flick noticed that, he's still a little green. So he sent them back down. Let's see. Don't get replaced. No, do not. Peru es clave. Amen, my friend. And Barca Mama says the romantic in me wants Argentina to win. Messi last game as a second World Cup as a culé and wants Spain to win without any help from Real Madrid. Yeah. Well, now they're claiming Cucurella, and it's like, nah, bro, you didn't get to claim Cucurella because you signed him after the World Cup has begun, and last season he was with Chelsea. But yeah, no, I feel you. I feel like I'm in the same position. It's tough. It's a good tough. It's a great problem to have both teams in the final that you would be happy for either to win. I mean, look at Penaldo fans and Madridistas. They have two teams that whichever wins they hate. So it's like whatever happens, they're gonna be mad. For us, it's whatever happens, we're gonna be happy. I mean, it's a win-win. Alexi Blanco. I just joined. I hope you're doing good, Mo, and it's a lovely day. It is an amazing day. Thank you, my friend. I hope you are doing well as well. It's a lot of wells in one phrase or one sentence. Akum Long says Laporte is perfect for Barca. Also, since De Jong is injured, who should play in a DM, Gavi or Bernal? I've noticed something, and I don't know why this is happening. And I said it last time, and some people were going crazy. And I'm like, what's there to argue? It's the reality. Bernal is the starter. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. Bernal is a starter ahead of Frankie. Flick's favorite starting double is Pedri and Bernal. Rewind back to Flick's first season. Who was his starting double right away as soon as the season started? Was Bernal and Pedri. Even though it was Bernal's first season ever with the first team. And still, despite being 18, zero experience, never played first division football in his life, Flick chose Pedri and Bernal. If you don't believe me, go back and watch those first matches of that season, the 2024-2025 season. Then Bernal, unfortunately, tears his ACL and he's out for a whole year. And that's when we see Frankie play next to Pedri. But it's always been, well, actually Casado, because Frankie was injured the first half of that season. So it was Pedri, Casado, and then the second half, Frankie comes back and starts playing next to Pedri. But it's Pedri Bernal this season too. And I know some people are like, that's only because Frankie's injured. No. There were plenty of matches where Frankie was fully healthy and it was still Pedri and Bernal. That's Flick started. That's not an opinion, guys. That's a fact. It's like, me saying, the starting goalkeeper is Szczesny. It's like, it's not. It's Juan Garcia. Like, that's not an argument. It's fact. It's not opinion. It's not what's best, Coke or Pepsi. Coke. Yeah, and it's like the other day I said it and people were arguing with me. I was like, wait. What are we arguing here? Like, this shirt is black. If you see that it's pink, it's not that we have different opinions. You need to check your eyes. It's like same thing with the whole Bernal thing. So who should start there? It's Bernal because he's the starter. The question is who should be his sub? And that is a good question. I think Gavi in a double pivot does really well. I like Gavi in a double pivot next to Pedri much better than I do when he plays in the attacking mid. Yiwa says, I did support England, but when I saw how they were playing, I was like, I need great final. Congrats to Argentina. And Takara says, and here I thought the Finalissimo was canceled. Look, we're getting that matchup after all. That's very true, my friend. Let's see. Make Barca. What up, Big Barca? It says Mo, Messi facing a kid he held as a baby 19 years ago in a World Cup final. Yeah, man, this kind of stuff can only happen in football. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, even if you try to script it, it's just, you couldn't do any better. But all right, let's see. Let's get back to the news. And then we'll continue doing comments. But let's talk about Julian Alvarez. I know you guys are sick and tired of me hearing talk about Julian Alvarez. I'm sick and tired of talking about Julian Alvarez. But if there's news, I have to report it. Because, yes, there is news. In fact, there are two updates in regards to Julian Alvarez. There were two updates about Araujo. Today, there's two updates about Julián. I guess today is the day of twos. Oh, yeah. We had the second semifinal. Argentina scored 2 goals so they can play their second consecutive final. We had 2 updates about Araujo, 2 updates about Julián. There's no 2 updates about Laporte. But today is the 2s. So if you play in the lottery, throw in some 2s in there. Anyways, let's talk about Julian Alvarez because we do have 2 updates. The first one, oh shit. I lied. Today is not the day of 2s. Take all that back. I messed up. 3 updates about Julian Alvarez. The first update is that Julián, through his agent, has told Atletico Madrid, you dumb fucks, I'm tired of saying this. I'm paraphrasing here. But I do not want to go to the Premier League. Okay? This had already happened, right? Julián had already told Atletico that he wanted to go to Barca and Barcelona. Atletico tried to reach an agreement with Arsenal. Actually, they did reach an agreement with Arsenal where they're saying that they agreed to a swap between Gyökeres and Julián, which, by the way, Gyökeres, I told you guys that guy was a flop. You guys didn't listen. You wanted Barca to sign Gyökeres. And it's like, people, you got to stop treating players like a fad. Well, oh, today this guy is in, we want him, and then tomorrow another guy is in, and we want him. It's not how football works, okay? These are not fads. This is not fashion. You don't get to wear a pair of shoes that are in today, and then tomorrow you get a new pair of shoes, right? But anyways, it's reported that Atletico had reached an agreement with Arsenal for Julián to join Arsenal. In exchange, Atletico would get Gyökeres and some cash. But of course, Julián said, no, I don't want to go to Arsenal, and I want to go to Barca. But Arsenal continued insisting, and they say that Liverpool has also joined the race for Julián, which of course Atletico Madrid were loving it because the more bidders there are, the higher the price there is, and the better the negotiation position that they're in once they eventually sit down with Barcelona once the World Cup is over, right? Because then you can say, well, you need to offer me all this money. No, I don't want to. Well, okay, we'll go negotiate with Arsenal. We'll go negotiate with Liverpool, right? The more bidders, it's always the better for the one doing the selling, not just in football, but in life in general. But today, Julián, through his agent, communicated to Atletico Madrid once again that Julián has no intention of going to the Premier League. It's not about Arsenal. It's not about Liverpool. Julián doesn't want to play in England again. He feels more comfortable in Spain. He wants to remain in Spain, and he wants to play at Barca. So it's not about Liverpool. It's not about Arsenal, Chelsea, or City, or whatever. He doesn't want to go back to the Premier. And Julián, through his agent, made it very clear to Atletico Madrid, which, of course, again, benefits Barcelona, again, because, well, the only option is Barcelona and Julián continuing to put that pressure on Atletico from within to force him to negotiate with Barcelona, because that's the only club he wants to go to. Now, the second update, and this one is in regards to the fee. As you know, Barcelona have submitted an offer worth 90 million fixed plus 10 million variables, so 100 mil in total. That offer completely went unanswered, and Barcelona have decided that they're going to submit an improved offer once the World Cup is over, which is once Barcelona hope that sit down with Atletico Madrid and negotiate for Julián. Now, Barcelona have set a cap on the fee, the maximum they're willing to pay. And the cap is 100 million fixed, right? In other words, they're only going to pay 100 million fixed, no more than that. The total package could be more, but fixed, they're only willing to pay 100 million more, and then throw in some variables that would be tied to Julián's individual performance with Barca, to Barcelona winning titles, and things like that in order to sweeten the deal. But fixed, they're only willing to pay maximum 100 million euros, and then the rest would be in variables, and maybe variables and a player, or maybe just 100 fixed and then a player in exchange, What players? Of course, as I told you yesterday, Atletico Madrid wanted Marc Bernal, had requested Marc Bernal, which is a no-go. Barcelona not going to sell Marc Bernal. But they could offer someone like Casado, who we know Alemany likes, Ferran, who we also know Alemany likes, or, of course, Araujo, who we just talked about a few moments ago, because Diego Simeone is a big fan of Araujo, and Atletico Madrid are set to lose 2 center backs. So that could be thrown in the mix to sweeten the deal. So we'll see what happens, but just know that Barcelona have set a ceiling of 100 million euros fixed for their improved offer, which is set to happen after the World Cup. And I don't know if you guys know this, but the World Cup is going to end on Sunday. So we're talking about maybe next week this offer could be sent, or the week after, right? We're getting close. Now, the third update, and this one is not about Julián. So maybe it is the days of twos. No, I'm not going to cheat. This one is not direct. It's not about Julián, but it does affect Julian Alvarez. Remember the Apollo group that I told you about? It's a US-based investment group that purchased a majority share in Atletico Madrid earlier this year, right? They bought, I think it was 51% of shares of Atletico Madrid. And since that has happened, Atletico Madrid kind of have felt emboldened, like, okay, now they have this huge investor backing them, right, for signings. That's how they were able to make a lot of signings in the winter transfer market with that cash injection. And they felt emboldened because they were like, all right, now we have a lot of money backing us. We can make big signings and we can become, a European giant, right? As opposed to Barca and Madrid's shadow. And that confidence that they got from this huge investor backing them also affected their negotiation stance, right? Because now they were like, oh, we have money. We don't need to sell you Julián, right? You either give us a release clause or we're not selling because we have money, right? We're not desperate. Kind of like how that's why it's difficult to negotiate with teams like City or PSG, because you cannot lure them with money. They have money. They don't care, right? It's not like the smaller teams where you're like, hey, sell me this guy. They're like, we don't want to. He's our guy, but shit, I need money. Fine, we'll sell it to you, right? That's not the case with clubs with infinite amount of money. And that was kind of like the position Atletico were taking. But, and here's the third update. Today, there was a report in the Madrid media that Apollo, that investment group that bought a majority share of Atletico Madrid, are now considering selling only 6 months later of purchasing the club. So this, of course, throws a little bit of a wrench in everything and could eventually end up affecting the whole Julian Alvarez, because now you're not in the position, we have Apollo backing us. We don't have, we have plenty of money. We don't care. Now Apollo looks like they want to dump this. And would you blame them? Which, by the way, let's take a minute and all laugh at Atletico Madrid. But yeah, those are the 3 updates. Julián making it clear to Atletico Madrid he has no interest in returning to Premier League. Barcelona setting a cap on the fixed fee, which is 100 million. And then Apollo now considering selling Atletico Madrid, which could also affect the Julián operation. All right, let's get back to the comment section. And then we are going to talk about Aymeric Laporte. Nadim Ahmad says Argentina versus Spain. Finally, what a hell of a match would be. Excuse me. Would that be another Messi masterclass? Goat does it in semifinals with 2 assists. What a cross. And if Messi wins or Spain wins, both are a win-win situation. Amen, my friend. And Sid says, for F's sake, let Araujo go, terminate his contract or something. Well, you can't terminate contracts. I know how people say that a lot. You cannot just terminate contract, because when you terminate a contract, you have to pay the full contract, right? So Araujo, when did Araujo sign to? 2031 or 2030? Let me see. When did he sign? Renew to? Oh, that's why it's not pulling up. Here we go. 2031. So we're talking about, what's that, 5 years? 5 years. Let's look up Araujo's salary. Araujo's current salary is 15 million gross. So he nets 7.5. 15 million gross. If we terminate his contract, we have to pay him 15 million times 5, which is the 5 seasons left on his contract, which would be, what is that? 75 million euros. We would have to pay 75 million euros cash to Araujo if we terminate his contract. And that's just the salary. If the contract contains what they call like a punishing clause, which punishes you for punishes whoever terminates the clause, the contract, then you have to add that to the 75 million. And if there are bonuses in there, you could end up being on the hook for those bonuses as well. So you're talking about having to pay him 100 million just so he can leave. That's not how it works, right? Contracts exist for a reason, to protect both parties. That way, Barcelona cannot just be like, all right, you're out, and now they throw you on the street. And the same thing with Araujo cannot be like, oh, bye, and like, hey, where's Araujo? He didn't show up to practice. Oh, I signed with, I don't know, Atletico. It's like, wait, what? But you're our player, right? Contracts exist to protect people. Both parties involved, all parties involved in a contract. So you can't just terminate them all willy-nilly. And who the fool with a donation? Let's fucking go. Thank you so much, my friend, for your generosity. But who the fool says, yo, Bo, when is Messi's contract ending? We need to sign him back immediately. He's still the best in the world. I legit think we'd win the Champions League with him. Probably not under Flick's system now, because as we can see, even though Messi is doing amazing in the World Cup, if you see him, he was always the kind of player that didn't run a lot, that walks around a lot, and just kind of like studying, reading the field, and then once he sees his chance, boom, he explodes. He's always been that kind of player towards, when he was his final seasons with Barca. But now it's even a lot more. And of course, it's a lot more. He's 39 years old. And under Hansi Flick, that's not going to fly. Not to mention that Messi is never coming back as long as Joan Laporte is the president, right? Messi does not want to see Joan Laporte, not even in a picture. And Messi also just renewed, if I'm not mistaken, with Inter Miami. Let me see. Yeah. Okay, runs through 2028. 2028. So 2 more seasons, which by then he will be, 41? And again, not only he doesn't want to come because Laporta's president, and Laporta just won re-election. Inter Miami's not going to be interested in selling him. And even if they are, Messi's not going to be able to fit under Hansi Flick's system, not with the amount of physical demand that his system requires or intensity. And then, his salary. His salary as I think he earns like $25 million a year. It's also a salary we cannot afford. So, it's a far, 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 far dream. But thank you, my friend. Thank you for your donation. And let's see. Brian says, what's up, Mo? Me and my wife are going to New York City in December. Where do you recommend to watch a Barca game? Also, what's the best pizza in New York City? Visca Barca. I don't care who wins the final. Now it's a win-win. To watch a Barca match, you got to go to Smithfield Hall. Smithfield Hall. It's on, I always forget the street. I know how to get there, but is it 25th Street or 24th Street? Hold on, let me look it up. I actually met Bisca Michael there during the Clásico match. I was there watching the game, and he approached me, and we got to watch a match together. Drank some beers. It was a good day. Smithfield Hall is on... By the way, I've been to this bar a million times, and I still don't know what street it's on. 25th Street. So, yeah, Smithfield Hall. That's where to watch. Best pizza? My favorite is Adrian's Pizza Bar in downtown New York. That's my favorite. But you have to try what's it called? Eh, Peter Piper, Piper Peter. No, I'm just kidding. What is it called? Prince Pizza. You have to try Prince Pizza, of course, you know. But my favorite is Adrian's. Let's see. Edward says, "Hey Mo, how's it going? Just stopped in for a second. Everyone is beating up on Tuchel, but how did Chelsea beat Man City in the Champions League? Just like Inter beat Barca in the Champions League. If you win 1-0, no one cares." Right, but you gotta know when to do that. And seeing what Argentina had already done this World Cup, he didn't even have to pull the tapes from 2022 or before that, right? Literally just a week ago. What happened in Egypt? Egypt were up 2-0, not 1-0, 2-0. And they parked the bus and they got punished for it. So you see that happening, and your first thought is, I'm going to park the bus. You know, it's like, he should have known. He should have known. And especially once they started getting hammered, then you should have definitely known. Or here's a crazy thought. Once that one goal went in, once what's his face? Enzo scored. Again, another signal. Hey, maybe it's time to unpark the bus. But no, he waits until he's down 1-2 in the 94th minute, and that's when he puts in attackers to go for it. And it's like, you should have known the moment you start getting hammered. You should have known the moment you got scored on the first time. No, you wait until you get scored on twice, and there's 4 minutes left of stoppage time, not even of match time, of stoppage time. I mean, come on. Glenn says, "I am disappointed that Mo didn't cover the whole World Cup." I did. I just didn't do like dedicated videos. I would like just entire videos doing the World Cup. It was always the first segment of any video or podcast. I'd always talk about the World Cup. Let's say. Suleiman says, "Hello Mo, how are you doing today? I'm excited about the final by two teams who were heavily criticized from the beginning of the tournament. Funny how things unfold." True. They both didn't have the best starts. No, actually, I take that back. Argentina started with a 3-0. It was Spain that didn't have a best start. But obviously, Argentina's Argentina. They're always going to get hate because of Messi. And, it's all rigged. And FIFA and Infantino. And it's like, it's funny how it's not rigged when your team wins, but it's rigged when the team you don't like wins. It's like, you can't have it both ways. It's either the whole thing is rigged, means even when your team wins, it's rigged, or it's not rigged at all. And even when the team you don't like wins, it's also not rigged. You can't have it both ways, right? But, unfortunately, that's the world we live in, full of sore losers who just cannot handle disappointment. So they have to, scream, it's rigged, it's rigged, everything's rigged. I feel bad for people like that. Real Choco Boy says, "Hey Mo, what do you think about Cucurella? Think Flick should go for him now? He's playing at the highest level. You think he could be a good signing?" I mean, Cucurella signed for Real Madrid. I don't know if you're aware of this. So, no, we're not going for Cucurella. And then let's do one more. AK says, "What's the number? I am just joining." Number for what? You mean summary? Gonna have to watch it again. Kirko says, "Hey Mo, Biscaya from Cameroon. Happy to join the live after a pretty long time. Please, guys, let's like the live." Thank you, my friend. Yes, hit the like button. Very, very important for the channel. It's the most important thing you can do for the channel. It really helps the channel grow. And with that, let's get back to the news. Let's do the last bit of news because, ladies and gentlemen, Aymeric Laporte has offered himself to Barcelona. He's looking to join the Blaugrana club, knowing, of course, that Barcelona do need a left-footed center back. And, well, guess who's a left-footed center back? Well, Aymeric Laporte is the 32-year-old Athletic Club defender. Now, this is not the first time Aymeric Laporte has offered himself. When he left Athletic Club right before joining Manchester City, he offered himself to Barca. It didn't happen. Then when he finished his contract, or sorry, when he finished playing with Man City and he was headed to Al Nasser, he also offered himself to Barca. And now, for the third time, once again, he is offering himself to Barcelona. Now, Emerick Laporte is the kind of is a center back, obviously, that would be a good fit in Barcelona. I mean, left-footed is exactly what we need. We're seeing how well he plays with Kouarsi and how well Kouarsi plays with him. Another check in his book. Has a very good build-up. Can drive the ball forward. Can maintain possession of the ball. Can make those forward passes. Sounds familiar. Of course, it's exactly what Barcelona looks for in their center backs. So overall, on paper, Emerick Laporte would make absolute sense. He would be a great fit for the Barcelona system, and he would be a great fit right next to Pau Kouarsi in that defensive line. What's the problem? Well, there are really three problems here, which makes this signing almost impossible. The first one is the fact that there's no space on the squad, right? We have, like I said, 6 center backs. We have Kouarsi, Gerard Martin, Araujo, Christensen, Eddie Garcia, and Alvaro Cortés, who's expected to play with the first team. And yeah, whenever I say this, people are like, wow, we still need someone experienced. Yeah. I mean, even if you didn't like any of the 6 center backs we have, you still can't sign someone when you have 6 center backs, because these are 6 salaries you're paying, and you're going to bring a 7th one so you can pay 7 salaries. It's just, you can't do it. The only way Laporte can come is if one of those center backs leaves. You need someone to leave in order to be able to pay Laporte, because you cannot pay 7 salaries in just for 2 positions. Not to mention, financial fair play wouldn't allow you to do it. So you can't. Whether you like or hate the center backs that we have, you can't bring someone else unless someone leaves. So you can use the salary of the person that leaves to pay Laporte. And so you can use the space that's occupied by the person who leaves on the financial fair play for Laporte. So right there, you can. It's kind of like if you have a car that seats 5 people and there are 5 people in it, you can't put someone else in there until someone gets out of the car. And then that person that you're trying to pick up can take their place, right? That's how it works. Second reason, and this is a huge one on why this wouldn't happen. Emerick Laporte has a contract with Athletic Club de Bilbao until 2028. And not only is Laporte key for Athletic Club, in other words, they have no intention of selling him. He's a starter for them. But you guys might not remember this, or maybe you do. The relationship between Barcelona and Athletic Club completely broken. So not only it's a no-go for them because they're not looking to sell Laporte, but it's definitely a no-go because even if he was for sale, they're not going to sell to Barca because, well, the relationship completely broken, right? It all started with the whole Negreira thing, right? Athletic Club making that statement, oh, that Barcelona, Negreira, and how is it possible? Then they started boycotting the lunches, the presidential lunches right before the matches. Then we had, that whole incident at the, what's their stadium called? I'm forgetting. San Mamés, where all the fans were throwing these bills that had Laporta's face printed on it, saying, that Barcelona bought referees. And then, of course, it all culminated in the whole Nico Williams shebang, right? So relationships completely broken between both clubs. So negotiating for Laporte, who's a key player for them and who we have no relationship with them, is nearly impossible. And a third reason I think it would be, and this is more my reason than a real reason, I think he's 32 years old. So, he's getting up there. Not to mention, and of course you can bring up Inigo Martinez, but I think with Emerick Laporte, even though he has a lot of things that fit under the Barcelona scheme, one thing that I think would not perhaps work out in his favor is tracking back. And Hans Flick likes to play with a high line, and he needs center backs that can track back. I don't know if Laporte can do that. I'm not saying it for his age. I'm just saying for the kind of center back that he is. Still a great center back. Again, plays amazingly next to Kouarsi. But between the age and I don't know how well he would do tracking back. For me personally, I don't know if would be the most ideal signing. It will still be a good signing. I don't think it would be more ideal. But either wise, my opinion aside, the chances of signing him are almost none. Almost none, right? We would need someone to leave. And even if does someone leave, like Araujo, for example, who we just talked about how he could leave if Flick tells him that he won't be getting that much minutes, that still leaves the huge obstacle of Athletic Club not having any kind of relationship with us and not wanting to sell him. Plus, as I've said before, we already have our own Laporte. His name is Eric Garcia. Anyways, that is all. That is all the news. Let's do more comments and then we will end this. Fidel says, do you think Barca sells Christensen if Barca buys a new left center back? I genuinely don't understand why we renewed him. I don't think so. I mean, because Barca renewed him is because they want to keep him. I don't see Barca renewing him to sell him, even though some clubs do that, right? They'll renew a player so they can sell him. That way he doesn't leave for free. But, I mean, Christensen has been wanting to stay. And now that he gets his contract renewal, he's not going to be like, okay, I'm okay with you guys selling me. Even if Barca decides to sell him, he's going to be like, no, F you, I have a 2-year contract, right? Why did Barca renew him? I have no idea. I have no idea. Berkey says, hey, Mo, what's up? We're about to see both the Finalissima and the World Cup in one go. Messi is so amazing. Agreed and agreed, my friend. 2 agreeds. And Ruben says, Barcelona has so many wingers, yet they sent Gordon and Adeyemi. I think you mean signed. Needs to upgrade the defense. What do you mean so many? Rafinha. And that's it on the left. So, of course, we needed Gordon. You need 2 players per position. On the right, Lamine. And yeah, sure, we have Bardaghji, but we know Bardaghji is on his way out. And we have Ferran, who can technically play there, but Ferran is being used as a center forward. So just Lamine. And that's why we have now Adeyemi. Let's see. Wiz says, who have Barcelona targeted just in case we do not sign Julián? So there's a long list of players, right? The favorite option for Barca, if Julián doesn't work out, is Krupi. There's also, of course, other options like Osimhen, like Joao Pedro, even though I don't know about Joao Pedro, how feasible that would be given that Chelsea is pretty much like he's not for sale unless he really pressures. And then, Kane was on the list, but he doesn't want to leave. But he hasn't renewed yet. So unless, I don't know, maybe today's disappointment and he's like, fuck it. Just throw everything out. I doubt it. But, there's a list. We'll see. Java the Hut says, do you think this is the biggest carry in history? I think it's tied between this Argentina and 2019 Barca. I know it's a full season, so I'll just stick with the 2019 Champions League. I don't want to say that this is a big carry. I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, Messi is a big part of Argentina's success, right? Because he scored a hat-trick in the first match. He scored a double in the second match. So right there, those 2 wins were all his, right? Because nobody else scored. But after that, other players also contributed to Argentina's win. So I don't want to say it's a big carry. Obviously, he's been very important, very influential in Argentina making it to the final. But other players have also stepped in. I mean, what Paredes did against Switzerland, that was single-handedly one of the best performances of Paredes as a holding midfielder. Wait, was it Switzerland? Yeah, it was Switzerland, right? Is that who did Argentina play last? Quarterfinals was Switzerland, right? Yeah, Switzerland. So yeah, not to mention Julian's goal for that 2-1. Poof. But anyways. Firas says, sup Mo, I know it's old news, but now old news be now, but I have tell all Madridistas crying will make you feel better. Peace, guys. Yeah. Madrid's tears are always delicious. Very delicious. Fofanadi says, more has just come online. I'm so excited seeing our two chicks at final. Is there any update on Julian coming home? We already talked about Julian. Let's see. Jason says, sign Enzo. I love his playing style against England. I think we're covered on the midfield, in the midfield. Solomon, what's up, Solomon? Says, hi, Mo, who are supporting the final, Spain or Argentina? This is a nice scenario for Barca fans. Honestly, I'm okay with either. Chosen Vessel says, hey, Mo, love what you're doing, and I tune in every chance I get. I predicted the final and won $100 each from Spain and Argentina against my friends. Nice. Congrats, my friend. Spend your money wisely. Just kidding. It's your money. You do whatever the hell you want with it. Let's see. What else? Akum Long says, Spain win. No, the World Cup problem. Argentina win. The World Cup, no problem. Okay. I get it. Yeah. Whoever wins, we're good with each. And Mark says, Laporte played all the Barca fans for a fool when he told us he would sign Messi above everything else. So he played as a fool when he told us that we couldn't. Well, he played as a fool because during his campaign, not this last one, the one before, he said Messi staying. Like if he gets elected, Messi staying. He gets elected and Messi leaves. So that was the first time he played as a fool. Second time he played as a fool is when he told us that it had nothing to do with him. It was actually La Liga and Javier Tebas who prevented Barca from renewing him. And lo and behold, we find out it actually was his fault. He declared losses that he shouldn't have declared. They weren't real losses in order to protect the bond that his friends had put up, right? Because when you run for president, you need to put up a cash bond. That cash bond is there in case something happens, you do something wrong, the club can take that bond and fix whatever bad things you did. But obviously, if nothing happens, you keep your bond. So Laporte declared losses that were much bigger than the real losses in order to protect that bond, because that way he could be like, oh, look, I started out with this huge debt, but it wasn't that big of a debt. It was smaller than what he actually reported. And because he reported such a big debt is because La Liga said, okay, you cannot renew Messi. And then, of course, he told us that he would sign him. But I feel like that one was more of a Messi not wanting to do anything with him, and that's why he didn't come. But, I mean, he shouldn't have promised that. So, yeah, he played as fool a lot. Valeriano says, today English pundits and ex-English players had to swallow their own words. Thankfully, I watch all my football in Spanish, so I didn't have to suffer through that. Let's see. Evgeny says, 2 assists in round of 32 with a pen in round of 16, assists in quarters, goals in semis, less fixed price, and $4 million more in package than Ramos. Arsenal about to spend $150 million on Rogers. We stole. And let's see, last one, and then we will end this. Noob Master says, Ronaldo fans don't even want to see the truth, but Messi's the greatest of all time, period. Amen, my friend. That's a great comment to end this podcast on. And with that, it's a wrap. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And, of course, drop a comment with all your thoughts about everything we shared here on the podcast. Thank you guys for everything. And as always, peace, guys.